All right, day two of the Emanuel Bedford murder trial in Chesterfield County nearly began with a major decision. So Bedford asked the judge overseeing the case if he could represent himself. So he's on trial now for the 2021 kidnapping and murder of Deidre Reed, whose body still has not been found. But after some consideration and discussions with the judge, Bedford now decided he would retain his counsel. Let's bring in Chief Legal Analyst Clive Rhodes to talk about this. When you look at this case, first, never a good idea to represent yourself.
Man that represents himself is representing a fool. That's what the history
say.
has said, right? And so I can say that you don't come to this decision lightly. Even though this is the second day of trial and everything, you had the glitz and glamour picking the jury. We're getting to this process of how this trial begins. Let's be clear. This is a decision that was probably brewing for him for a while. Mm-hmm. You have this is a relationship. It's kind of like a divorce. You know, the divorce doesn't happen today. It's probably progressed over time, and then at some point, it was like, you know what, I just can't do this anymore. In this situation, typically when a person is asking to represent themselves, it's the same thing. We're not seeing eye to eye. We don't agree on things. I don't like the direction you want to go. You don't like the direction I want to go. And I want to just go ahead and do this on my own. No judge is going to let you bring another attorney in at this moment when trial has started. So your only logical step is, all right, I can do this on my own. And I can assure that the judge would have walked him through any process like we had here in Mecklenburg County last year with the trial where the individual was attempting to represent himself, and the judge walks you through a couple questions. Do you understand that I'm not going to give you any favoritism? I'm not going to allow this to be a lower tier level trial. You know, it's not like a varsity and JV level of trial. This is going to be the trial, so the rules of evidence will apply. I'll treat you just like an attorney. I can't give you any advice. Do you understand that, and are you still willing to go forward? And sometimes a judge, after hearing those answers to the questions, can say, all right, I'll let you go forward by yourself, or I'll let you go forward with the assistance of another attorney. But that's in the discretion of the judge, and that's an appealable decision. So if the judge rejects your decision to what to go forward with not having a counsel and wanting to represent yourself, that individual could come forward and appeal. So I would suggest, I would recommend that in this situation, never representing yourself. Mm-hmm. But if a person wants to, it's your right. I just would not advise it.
All right, so I want to get back to Deidre Reed. Her body has not been recovered. What does that do in a case when you don't physically have evidence of the actual person dying?
It definitely makes it significantly harder to prove that this person committed this crime beyond a reasonable doubt, and that's the standard. It's not some doubt, it's not a little bit of doubt, but it's beyond a reasonable doubt. And so the job as the district attorney and the solicitor in this case is to be able to prove that this person has done it, and they have the burden of proof. That's the state's case. On the other side, the defense doesn't have to do anything. They just have to show up, and they're looking to add reasonable doubt, and they just need one. They don't have to be perfect. They just got to get one person that can agree that, hey, I don't think that this occurred. And so not having found her body it makes it problematic for a DA or a solicitor to be able to show that reasonable doubt is there, because people want to be able to see something tangible. They want to see a murder weapon. They want to see those types of things. Even though most of the convictions are going to be on circumstantial evidence, they still want that hard type of evidence. But listening to the testimony, they're trying to establish it through other means. They talked to one of the folks that testified yesterday, and they said, well, do you believe that she's gone? Have you lost hope in believing that you'll ever find her? And the woman was like, yes, I believe that she is dead. Those are the types of things that you can use to establish it, you know, her mindset. But if I'm the defense, I'm saying, well, no weapon, no person. Those are the types of things where I'm pointing to reasonable doubt. So it will be that back and forth. But to the original point, that individual couldn't do any of that and pull out and elicit those type of questions on cross or on direct.
Clive Rhodes, we appreciate your insight. What we have learned, it is never good to represent yourself. All right, thanks.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.